Think we are live. I always like it when the video begins. Hi, I think, are we on? Oh, is this thing on?
Hello, anyone out there? Send us a message if you are.
Yes. Hi, I'm Danny Gregory, and is it coming up? Yes, good. I'm Danny Gregory, and welcome to Creative Kickstart here with Nikki Traikos, and we are going to continue the adventure that we began yesterday. Nikki, how did you feel about yesterday? Now that you look back on it,
Yesterday was good. Again, always working live. You're not able to sort of pick it up and see what you're doing, look at perspective. And overall, I'm happy with how my chicken turned out. I think I'll approach him again and maybe really exaggerate his eye because he's kind of looking at you in the photo reference. But I'm quite pleased now that I had a bit of time after our session to just finish him up. I'm excited to share it with everyone. How about you? How did
yeah.
you feel?
I was not particularly happy with where my chicken had gotten to by the end of the session. So I just stayed here for like another, it didn't take long, maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
Mhm.
And I'm going to switch to, let's look at how our chickens have updated since yesterday. There you go. So
Look,
yeah,
it's
so here we have, so what else did you do with yours?
yeah, so I'm going to tilt him a little bit to see if you can see the metallic. Oh, there we go. If I hold him up this way, I added in a bit more of the metallic watercolor, but I ended up grabbing this gold calligraphy ink, and it really gave him a bit of shine. I even brought in some blue gouache, red gouache, and white gouache, and I did this cool splatter again just to add a bit of texture to him. Cleaned up his eye. I feel like I just gave him a bit of depth, a little bit more color. I was inspired by all of the color you used. Um, yeah, I just brought in a few more
It's
supplies.
the kind of drawing that when you spend like 5 minutes sharpening things up, it makes such a difference, right? When you sharpen the edges, when you fix the eye, put the highlight in, all those kinds of things can just make it so much different.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you end up doing to yours, Danny?
I did quite a lot. I to me it was all about this eye, and I just hadn't gotten this whole shape right. So I went in with a bunch of gouache. I also painted over this whole area with gouache, and I redid it with the metallic so that it was just a little less random. And yeah, I darkened this whole area underneath here to make this comb stand out. And I just added some texture here. I added this dark area here, which may have been a mistake, but
No,
I
I
don't know.
loved it. It's actually one thing that caught my eye. I
Yeah, it
love the
was
texture.
this. Yeah, I mean, in the picture, this was like the back of his body,
Hmm.
but I don't know. It just made him feel more three dimensional, so I was happy with it.
Hmm.
All right, good. Well, we've made progress. Let's go back to ourselves again and talk about what we're going to do today. So today is called Let's Letter because we're going to do some lettering. We both like doing lettering. We both like doing. I don't really even pretend to call it calligraphy, but it's whatever it is. But with you, I think it is calligraphy.
I think I'll
So
do a bit more
yeah,
calligraphy than lettering today. I picked up my dip pen and played around with some of the inks, and I missed it a little bit. So I think I will show the dip pen and do a bit of calligraphy.
yeah, I was inspired by your using watercolor the way you did. So I'm going to try and do a bit of lettering in watercolor,
Okay.
actually in gouache probably. But I also have all of these great drawing inks and calligraphy inks in front of me. So I'm looking forward to just trying a bunch of different things. And I'm a little bit ambitious with what I want to do today, so I don't know how it's going to work. We have changed our format. So yesterday, it just seemed a little chaotic. We had a lot of stuff going on the screen. There were just a lot of different things. So we've decided, and also it was really difficult for either of us to see what the other was doing because we were head down drawing, and we also couldn't really see your comments. So today, hopefully, we've made a step forward. JJ is here in the room with me. She's going to let me know if there's any big news in the comment section. We'll try and focus on that a bit more. Also, we are going to work one at a time. So
Yeah.
one of us will work,
I
the
want
other will watch, and we'll go back and forth like that. One thing I just wanted to say, which I forgot before, which is we are sponsored by Winsor and Newton, who provided all of our materials today. We're really grateful to them. But also, it's a lot of fun working with their products because they are really like solid, reliable,
Mhm.
great stuff. And there's a lot of different ones. So we're going to be talking about them. But of course, if you don't have all these things from Winsor Newton, that's fine. Use what you have, but consider getting some of these things in the future. Also, we would love to see what you've done. So if you made chickens yesterday, if you're going to do some lettering today, please share it on Instagram and tag it. Hashtag Art Kickstart 2024. I know not everybody uses Instagram. I understand that. We had to narrow it down some way, but that's kind of where we're at. And if you can't share it, I'm sorry. But also, I would say what we're probably going to do is maybe next week sometime we'll gather together all the stuff that you guys have posted, and we'll make a video gallery, and we'll share that on our channels to just show you all the different things that you made in response to what we made. So please do share, and let's get into it. All right, I'm going to switch to my desk, which is here, and get rid of my chicken. So I'm going to be working with Bristol paper from Winsor Newton. This is Bristol. It's extra smooth. It's what I usually like to use for lettering, and it is. It's hard paper. It's like it doesn't really have texture like watercolor paper does. It's not particularly absorbent. So if you use wet media on it, it can sometimes be a bit unhappy. I think it'll be okay with gouache. What do you think? I think if it's not watered down too much, Bristol will be fine.
I think
What do
it'll
you?
be fine.
Yeah,
As long as you make it the same consistency as the inks, it
yeah,
should be. I'll
yeah.
test
I
it.
don't think I'll get any runnier than that. Otherwise, there wouldn't really be any point. So what I did is I took. So we have a couple of quotes, and I wanted to share them with you because if you want to do a screen grab of the quotes, they're also in the description below. You'll see the quotes. But we have 3 different quotes. One from Matisse: "Don't wait for inspiration; it comes while working," which I absolutely believe in. Sit down, start doing something, and ideas will appear. The next is from Mary Lou Cook, who is she's passed away now, but she's a sort of an inspirational art teacher in Santa Fe, and in some circles well known. But I love this quote: "Creativity is inventing, experimenting, growing, taking risks, breaking rules, making mistakes, and having fun." And then the final quote is from Maya Angelou: "You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have." So take a screen grab of that if you want to work along with us, because this is the last time you're going to see it on screen. And I'm going to work on the really long, overly ambitious one from Mary Lou. And Nikki, which one are you going to work on?
I'm going to use You Can't Use Up Creativity. I love that one. The more you use, the more you have. Something I truly believe in.
Absolutely. All right, good. So you've got your screen grab now, and here we go. That's you, this is me. All right, good. So
Someone's asking about Yupo paper.
yes, I don't have much to say about Yupo paper. I've used it a few times, but we're
You
focusing
both
here.
should work with the inks. I don't see why not.
Yeah,
Try it and
Yupo works with
if
watercolor.
that's
So,
what.
so this is my kind of crappy design I did about 5 minutes ago, and it's incomprehensible to anybody. But I just thought I don't even make designs usually, but in this case, I thought, well, make my life a little easier and have a design. So I'm planning to try and do things with the lettering that will reflect what they say. And I also want to try different materials, and I want to try different styles of lettering. So there's a lot going on here. But for now, we're going to say it's going to be a 10-minute timer. Could you set a 10-minute timer?
Bunch of people have asked about dip pen recommendations. What dip pen?
I'll talk about dip pens as I use them. So for those of you who are wondering about dip pens, I will talk about them as I work. Okay, so there's my design, and there we have it. So dip pens, I use, it depends what I'm doing, but
Let me know when you want the timer started.
which depend I use. Yeah, let's go. Let's get started. So this is the dip pen I use.
Start?
Yes, let's start. This is the dip pen I use most of the time. It is a G nib from Zebra. I think it's an easy, flexible nib. It's called G because it is G-shaped there. But I have a whole course that I taught about dipping into dip pens, it's called. So if you want to find out more about how to make use of a dip pen, I would recommend my own course. You can find it at sketchbookskool.com. All right, so the first word is creativity, and I'm kind of thinking, yes.
People are asking about, can they have the quotes to do
I'm sorry.
Okay. People miss the thing to take the quotes.
The quotes are if you missed the quotes, they are in the description below. All right, I'm going to put them up now while I just do this.
I'm gonna stop
This is, here's the quotes again. Meanwhile, I'm going to think about what I'm going to do. All right. Got it? Got a screen grab?
I took a screen grab, so if people need it.
What about it?
I took one so I can put it in the chat.
Can you put a screen grab in the chat?
What? You
No, I don't think you can. All right, so maybe I will use gouache.
could?
Yeah, you can't post visuals on YouTube. All right, guys, I'm going to focus on doing this now.
All right, timer. 10 minutes.
Timer. So I'm thinking just some gouache, but maybe I'll do each. So I'm going to do this kind of big and bold.
And are you using the Winsor and Newton round brush?
I'm using a number 6. Number 6 to me is the most useful size. I don't know about you, but that's the one. And I used to have I still do have a Series 7, which is kind of like the best of the best of brushes.
Yeah, that's good. So I was going to comment just about the size of brushes. I know sometimes people ask about the different size brushes and will want the exact number. Know that between manufacturers, that number can be different. So it's not like a lady size 7 shoe and have that be sort of a North American standard size. I always recommend use a size that suits the paper that you're working on or the substrate so that it feels comfortable. So I thought that would be
I didn't know that. I thought that they were the same. What's the point then?
Oh, if you look at, and I've done comparisons, so if you look brand to brand, there isn't a standard sizing. It's just their version of whatever the size is. Unless you're looking at a flat brush and it says 3/4, then you know that that's 3/4 of an inch. Hopefully it is. Oh, through 13 millimeters or 1/2 an inch. So that's an actual linear measurement.
It's a funny business, the art supply business. It is. It seems like it's yeah.
Option. Mm-hmm.
So yes, I'm making this really loose at the top because I want to make it feel sort of like creativity, I guess.
And when you're pulling color, Danny, just because I'm in awe of your color, do you just pick what you love? Or do you think about color theory at all? Do you think about it?
Not when I'm doing something like this. And I thought a little bit about color theory vaguely when I did my chicken yesterday because I just thought I've got a nice red, kind of the top part of his head was red. So I wanted to have the complement in the background.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, I just have the whole, I just have all the colors set up here in my palette from that gouache set. And I've got a couple that are mixed, but generally I'm using them pretty straight out of the tube. So, all right, so there's the word creativity. And now let's get into some ink. So maybe some gold. Because it's exciting to use gold ink. And I'll show you how I dip a dip pen. Hopefully I won't spatter any on the thing below. But so you dip it in. When you dip in your pen, you want to dip it in not so far. You want to dip it in far enough that you are getting up to the kind of the little slits, because the slits are what hold the ink. And this ink needs to be shaken up, actually. But yeah, you want, so those little inks, the little slits in the nib are what hold the ink. But if you dip too far down, you'll probably end up getting a lot of dripping problems just because you're overloading the brush. And if you dip really too far, you'll get it on the handle and it'll get on your fingers. And, you know, if you care about that, which I don't, but it's still.
And it gets on your
Then it gets on my, again, then it gets on my sofa, and JJ complains. Ooh, that gold ink is so nice and juicy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think too with the metallic, sometimes they don't flow as easily, so you do need to load it up.
Yeah, they
a
are,
little.
and they can get gummy.
Yeah, just the
They're
metallic
really
part of it,
thick.
I guess.
All right, so there you go. And then I just kind of stick it into the water pot and brush it. I treat it kind of like a brush, and then I just dry it off on a towel. So that is
Don't leave it in the water.
Yeah, do not leave it in the water. Particularly don't leave it in the water if you have your handle attached, because it can rot your handle.
Yeah, I've had lots of my wood dip pens crack. This one's not looking too great, but sometimes I feel like when your tools get a little more worn and dirty, I don't know, you feel more authentic using them, right? There's
Definitely.
nothing
I
like
mean, yeah.
a brand new set of something, but there's also, nothing like picking up an old tool that you've had a lot of memories with and shows its wear.
It's true. So I'm thinking that I'm now going to switch to drawing ink just to see how that's different. And I was thinking maybe violet.
Ooh, I haven't tested that one.
Yeah,
I have it out.
the bottles are these drawing ink bottles are not really designed. They're so narrow that it's easy to get stuff on you.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know. Yeah, no, I think I'm going to switch to a different color. I think I'm going to do it in black, actually. I'm going to do it in black. So the next word is inventing. And I was thinking that I would keep this very regular because I want to do a little drawing of a light bulb as one of the letters will be a light bulb. So I'm making this sort of more just kind of regular uppercase letters. I'm also getting a lot of ink on my hand, which is now getting on the page, so it's not going to be perfect. But that's my style. My style is to have really horrible mistakes happen. So yes, so there's, I'm going to leave out the space, leave a space for the light bulb. And there's my splotch of ink already on the page.
I love it.
I'm sure that never happens to you, though, right?
No, of course not. No. Did
so
you see my
perfect.
chicken? I had 2 splotches under the word chicken, but that's what makes it authentic and hand done, which is what I love. And I think it's important too to share that you did have a bit of a plan. Sometimes you may not. You said often you don't. But that way you can kind of work out spacing and things like that. So don't feel like you need to go straight to the page and create this beautifully composed piece. Have a plan and sketch it out, and that's part of the creative process where you can warm up and work out ideas, because now you know where
Absolutely.
you want to put the letter and the light bulb, right? Otherwise,
Yeah. So I'm going to draw the light bulb with this Kakamori pen, which this gives me a nice kind of regular line. It's very predictable.
So is it just monoline, or can you open up the tines to make it a bit thicker?
Well, it's actually a solid piece of brass, so
Okay,
but you can
so
press harder and you can
Okay.
angle it. I don't want to do it right now, but you can
Yeah.
lay it at an angle and you can get really broad strokes.
I want one now.
Yeah. So I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to add some more color to that little light bulb. All right, so then the next thing I plan to do is the word growing.
You have just under a minute left.
Shoot. On 10 minutes?
Yeah.
All right.
Goes.
All right, my 10 minutes are almost up, but that's the way it goes. All right, so I think I'm going to use calligraphy ink here. But what I want to do is I think I'm going to do it with a brush. And we'll see how it goes. But I'm thinking I want to do the word growing, and I want the word growing to grow. So I'm going to start here in the middle. I'm doing it in green because it's growing, but also because I'm trying to get into green because you've sort of inspired me there.
All right, your timer's done.
All right, we'll keep going because I just need another minute. I'm just going to finish the word growing, and then we'll
Danny, the
switch.
last pen, was it called a kakamori? Someone is asking.
Kakamori. Yeah.
Kakamori.
Kakamori.
I love that green. Greens and blues make me happy.
All right, I just have to go back in and fix that up a bit. All right, well, this I think will be better when I tighten it up a bit more, but
Yeah.
it looks kind of a little bit crude right now. But yeah, all right, good. So Nikki, why don't you take the reins?
Okay.
Grab the mic.
So I was also inspired when you showed me that you had a little bit of a sketch, and I wanted, I'm out of frame. Let me see if I can move back here so you can see me. I'm just going to do a little scooch on the roller. Okay. So I saw Danny's sketch and I thought I want to be prepared with a little bit of sketch again. It's nice to know where you want to go. It looks like my camera rotated when I did my little scooch. There we go. Everyone can see that okay? So I'm going to do You Can't Use Up Creativity. The More You Use, the More You Have by Maya Angelou. I'm going to do something a little bit more modern calligraphy and style. I'm going to show you some inspiration that I had just at my desk of pieces that I did. So very different to what Danny's doing. And I'm just going to let it flow and hopefully it'll look good and work out. But I tested some of the inks because I do want to use drawing inks with my dip pen. I also have a Nico G. Mine is just gold. Maybe it's not a G. I feel like
Nikki,
it's
you're just really off camera in your little head camera. So I wonder if you can. Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Okay, I'll angle my page here a little bit. Yeah, so I also have a Nico G that I like to use in my wood holder. And what I did was I grabbed some vellum paper because I thought it'd be neat to maybe overlay a quote onto a floral background. I don't know if I'll be able to do that today, depending on how much time we have, but it's really a good idea to test your inks on different paper to make sure that you don't get bleed through. I had a few notebooks that I decided to try, and I found that this one is going to do the best job for me. So I'm not sure, handmade in Italy, I'm not sure who makes this one, but yeah, play around with whatever paper you have to get an idea of what your inks will look like once they start to get absorbed by the paper. So I wasn't going to draw using a pencil, a sketch. So I think what I'm going to do is go right in with some ink, but I do have my reference beside me just to help guide me with placement and where I want to put letters. I really love the green. So is this the green that you were using, Danny?
Yes.
The
Yeah,
calligraphy
that's
ink?
it.
So I love that it's a bright emerald green. See, I already have a splotch imperfection right there. I don't have to worry about making a mess because I already have. And then
It's a
I
nice
thought,
color because it's not too blue. Like sometimes I don't like a very blue emerald green kind of thing, but this
right.
isn't. It has.
And then I picked up the blue Winsor Newton calligraphy ink. So I'm going, or sorry, the drawing ink. So I'm going to play around with both because I imagine some florals that I'm going to use the pro markers. And I want to use some greens, oranges, and reds and get a little bit of variety there. Okay, so I too will dip my dip pen into the ink, just making sure so the little vents are nice and full. So hopefully I don't have to re-dip too often. I don't want to get my hand in that little splotch. So we're going to incorporate that into the design. And I like to hold my pen just at a 40-degree angle and move with a little bit of pressure, making sure I don't stay too long so I don't get too many blobs like I just did. So if you're finding you're getting a lot of those heavy blobs, it just means you need to move a little quicker. So we'll start with, ooh, I'm getting lots of blob. We're going to go with it, right? You. Everyone can see that okay too,
So that
which is
paper is not absorbing the ink, huh?
no, it almost has a bit of a coating on it. So it is, I've used it for sketching as well as markers. And yeah, it's a really nice paper. And I have to move a bit quicker because I'm getting lots of blobs. So you can't. And then I like to create just a little bit of tails and a bit of interest. So that's the green. I'm going to try to take a little bit more off there. So you
Carol's
can.
asking how those pens work for lefties. They do have left-handed nibs. Fountain pens, right? I don't know. Is that true for dip pens? It is. I know it's true for italics.
So when I taught dip pen, I just recommended that if you're working underhand to tilt your paper
Right.
so that it's the direction of your hand,
Makes sense.
and then try not to get it in, like the ascenders might be a little bit messy, but try to work underhand and to tilt your paper in the direction that your hand goes. I know sometimes lefties, it's just a little bit different in terms of how you have to position your body and trial and error, but it is a little bit more challenging. So if you're finding that you're challenged, you're not alone. It just seems to work a little bit different for lefties.
Right.
So I'm looking at this and I just want to add maybe another little entry swirl there. I do have to leave myself room, but again, we're going to play with it. So maybe I'll change colors and look at, so again, it's so highly
Yeah, we
pigmented.
talk about that.
My
Yeah.
water on green it got.
So some people are asking about calligraphy inks versus drawing inks. We talked about that a bit yesterday. But the difference is, in this case, calligraphy ink from Winsor Newton they're more water based, whereas the drawing inks have some lacquer in them, which
Yeah,
makes
there's
them
black.
yeah, it makes them a little less water I mean more water resistant. So they are going to run less. They also have a little bit of a shine to them.
And I found
Calligraphy,
the calligraphy ink is a bit transparent. Sorry to cut you off, Danny.
yeah. Calligraphy ink is how else can we describe it? It is it's not that it's thinner exactly. I guess it is thinner,
It
right?
is thinner. It
It is
feels
thinner.
thinner to me.
It's
Yeah.
less kind of syrupy the way ink can be, and it's somewhere, but it can be close to watercolor, but it is you get beautiful colors, particularly from this set of Winsor Newton. I think they make about 24 different colors, and they're beautiful to put on with either a brush or a dip pen, as you're doing.
You can't use up creativity. So that blue, let me see if I can even zoom in a tiny bit.
I love the way that the letters are going behind, like the way the C goes behind the
Yeah.
downstroke of the Y.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice energy there.
I wonder if I need to introduce a third color. Do you want to pick a third color for me, since I feel like you are the
You're working with the drawing inks or the calligraphy inks?
either one? What would you recommend? I've got the blue and the green, but I feel like I need to add.
How about the scarlet? No, that's too extreme. How about the violet?
Oh yeah, the violet. Let's do that. Good choice. Good choice. And I wish the green wasn't so heavy because it kind of looks black even in person. So I might try green at the bottom and dip in a little less. Look at that violet. Hopefully you can see the what's in the bottle. So gorgeous. Okay, the more. So I might change up my design a little bit.
Yes, there are acrylic
And
inks.
are they waterproof?
Yeah, so somebody apparently had a question about acrylic ink. Acrylic ink is waterproof. It dries and becomes completely sort of solid to the paper, and it is. I mean, it has some of the qualities of acrylic paint. What else do you have to say about acrylic ink? I mean, I use acrylic ink sometimes underneath gouache, so you can lay it down as a layer under gouache, and then the water of the gouache won't reactivate it.
Yeah, so you can use it the same way. You just know that it won't move. So if you want to use it as an underlayer, that's great. And how else do I use them? Like I water them down sometimes. I use them with a brush. But the great thing is they're not water activated, so you can use them and layer them, and even put wet media on top of them too.
So Kristen asks, how do we clean our nibs after using the drawing ink? Literally, I dip it into a thing of water and I brush it off on a towel. It's your nib is, it's somewhat delicate, but it is a piece of steel, so it can take it. Just don't let it lie in the water where it'll get rusty and crappy. And if you find that your ink has dried into your nib, generally a good soak will do it. I mean, I think there are nib cleaners. I never use them. I use dish soap sometimes.
Water. Water, sometimes maybe a bit of warm water under the tap if it gets a little gloopy.
Or let it soak in warm water, even slightly soapy dishwashing liquid, and let it sit for 10 minutes.
And I would even remove it from the pen holder if you want to put it in.
Yeah, you just throw it into a glass or something. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. Okay. So simpler, maybe not as exciting, but I think the embellishment that I want to include will add a little bit personality, but that's even sweet on its own. And I was going to write in Maya Angelou's name sort of at the end as I work in a little bit more of the florals. So I'm have to be very careful at this point because I don't want to get my hand, it's very wet. I don't want to get my hand in the lettering, but I thought it would be neat to now bring in some of the markers because I don't play with the markers very often, and start to draw in some of the embellishments. So again, I have my visual here, so I want to do a little bit more botanical floral leaves that just draw your eye in and maybe frame the quote. And I'm going to move my
I really like the way
quote
you've used also those sort of block letters to punctuate the
You mentioned there's a
embellished.
little bird on the
Mhm.
Yeah, somebody said it's a little bird on the E.
have.
On the last E, that's my smudge. Oh,
It
it
looks
is
like
a
a
little
little
bird.
bird.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'll turn him into a little bird.
Parakeet.
parakeet. Yeah,
There you go.
there it is. Now it is a bird.
I should have used yellow. Thank you for that. Who said that? Creativity. I'm using that. Okay, so I thought what I would do is use these, and I could even use the watercolor pencils. I just still think it's so funny that I had no idea that there was another tray underneath. It's like a box of chocolates. You finish them disappointed there's none left, and then you open
But
them up
wait,
and
there's more.
and they're my favorite colors, all the earthy tones, the greens and blues. So maybe I'll even bring in, let me do those first. No, I'm going to stick to the plan. See, I get too excited by the supplies. So I think what I want to do is repeat some of the flourish, and I'm just going to almost intuitively, and I know sometimes when I say that, people maybe get and even let it go on to the other page, right?
Ah,
So that it exit. But just intuitively kind of let my hand um, create the movement. So I'm not going to worry too much about maybe balance or the composition being identical. That sometimes is the problem when you're creating a frame. If it is off balance, it can feel a little bit messy or maybe not harmonious, but I'm going to just draw in some of these guides that will be my little leaves. So I can even go in and start to draw in just with marker, maybe some leaves, creating some stems. And this is the meditative part. This is where you can just really have fun using simple shapes to draw in some leaves. And I want this to be mixed media when it is done. So I will bring in some of my watercolor pencils. Although this isn't watercolor paper, I don't have to use a lot of water in order to move those pencils.
hey,
So
you've got
maybe,
about 2 seconds left.
really, it does go so
I
fast.
know, it's
No,
crazy.
buy me another 5 minutes. No, no problem. It does go quick. Okay, so I have some
So,
yellow. So this
so
is,
Nikki,
what
can
color?
you talk a bit more about your paper? Just because you're, before you start on the next phase, maybe there are people asking questions about paper, and then we'll switch.
So I think I got it in Italy. I'm sorry. It doesn't I don't have 13 sedi sesame.com. Again, it feels like it is a thin coated, so maybe not a mixed media paper, but it can handle ink and marker. So I would look for maybe a smooth mixed media paper or even a hot press watercolor paper.
Yeah, that's what I use a lot too.
Yeah, the Bristol paper would do really well as well. And I'm just going to start to add in a little bit of color. So I think I'll just loosely start to bring in some simple flower shapes. And again, this is just with the marker. I think while Danny is working, I might take out some of the watercolor pencils, but just to start creating some embellishments.
All
So
right,
what
your
I'm
time's up.
time's up. Okay. See you next
Not to be
time.
brutal, but I have I'm chomping at the bit to
I
deal with
can't wait
this.
to see what you've done.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm really not happy with this growing, but I have to come back to it because I've been overly ambitious. So what I was thinking about doing is the next sentence is taking risks. So I was thinking about doing like sort of a little letter T that looked like a diving board.
And are you using watercolor pencil?
Right now I'm using watercolor pencil,
Okay.
and it's kind of light, maybe too light, but I have this a T. Maybe I need to use a darker one. Yeah, so here's a T that's going to look like a high diving board.
Love it.
And then I'm going to draw, I think in the same thing, I'm going to just draw this guy looking down. So standing on the high diving board. And he's sort of looking down with concern at how high up it is. Sort of a little stick figure guy. And then I thought I would do. Maybe this is an opportunity to use the markers. So I'm going to use a pro marker to do the lettering down here that says taking risk, and I'm just going to make it in this light blue as if it was water. It's the first time I've used a marker in a really long time.
Love it.
Yeah, again, it's just some refinement, I think, but I'll leave it there for now. All right, breaking rules. So breaking rules, I was thinking I want to just do.
Show that marker again so I can take a screenshot.
This is a Winsor Newton Pro marker, China blue, and taking risks. I think I'll do it in red. Taking risks, I did. I'm sorry, breaking rules. I'm gonna do breaking rules. Possibly in red? No, I'm not actually. I had an idea for my red later on. I think I'll do it in black.
But orange, like an orangey warm tone to go with the blue.
Well, what I wanted to do with breaking rules is I wanted it to be clear so that you could see each letter, because I wanted to try and do each letter in a completely different style, just in the interest of breaking rules. So this nib doesn't feel secure. Sometimes you put a nib into a dip pen and it just feels like it's going to fly out at any minute. And now it's got ink on it, so I can't fix it. But I'm thinking I'll just kind of invent letter forms. And splatter some ink too.
Oh, it looks like you're going rogue, Danny. I think you missed one of the lines.
I did? Taking risks, breaking rules.
Someone said experimenting. Lisa?
You're right, I did. I left that out of my design. So, well, I'm not doing experimenting.
Breaking rules.
Well, we talked about this yesterday, right? Sometimes when you're lettering, you misspell, you skip letters.
When I did my design, I left out the word experimenting. So I'm not experimenting. Sorry.
I guess it wasn't important. That's okay.
Creativity is not experimenting. Do not experiment.
Do not have fun or experiment. And do not do your own letters like Danny's, because
How much can you do in
they're
10 minutes?
too cool.
All right. So this is supposed to be my 5-minute thing, right?
Is time almost up?
I don't know. I can feel JJ breathing down my neck over there.
I didn't set a timer.
Set a timer now. Yay, she forgot to set a timer.
It's 10:43, so if Nikki's gonna get a second turn, you better wrap it up.
Save me 5 minutes, JJ. I'm going to do something completely different out of
I
plan.
know. I think we need to make this like a 4-hour show.
4 hour, 30 days, because it was supposed to be a couple of hours. Then Danny and I got
That was the original idea. It was a 2-hour workshop.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it 30 days.
All right, so breaking rules.
I'm getting ready just so I can use up my time.
Yeah, start like warm up.
No, I'm getting everything open.
All right, I'll just finish breaking rules. Man. All right, Nikki, you can take it. Is my time up?
No, you still have 4 minutes.
Oh, I still have 4 minutes.
Just start the
Oh,
timer.
yay! I have 4 minutes. All
I think you're
right,
getting
I'm good.
extra time. I love it. I feel like you need the extra time because yours is bigger too. I love watching you do lettering. So let me see if there's any questions. Any questions while Danny is working on his piece?
I feel like
Go ahead.
you gotta work
I'm
on
reading them.
writing.
Will you try each other's way next? Oh, interesting. Nikki, will you get loose? Danny will be less loose?
I don't know if
Interesting. Maybe tomorrow, because tomorrow we've got an interesting plan. I understand how you're describing it. So you want me to loosen up and have fun with a little bit of variety, which is something that I am totally open to. And Danny, they want you to maybe tighten up a little bit, like maybe not be so expressive, not expressive, maybe not, maybe have them all look the same, like how mine all kind of goes together. I don't know. That's very interesting. Maybe we'll look at the ones coming up. What do you think, Danny?
I think that may be impossible, but yeah, sure. I'll wear a dress too.
I suggested you painted your nails when we couldn't figure out whose desk was whose when we were testing. So maybe you can do that. Do you do any kids art? Someone is asking or encouraging kids to do art. I don't specifically teach classes that are, oh, I love that. Cross it out. How empowering is that? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm focused on what Danny's doing now. That's the great thing of changing the format. I love that we did this so we can watch each other create too.
Okay. I just have so much stuff on my desk. I'm just waiting for like 6 bottles of ink to flip over.
Lisa said to shave your legs. I need to get a bald cap.
I wax my legs.
I love that.
All right, I'm going back to doing some gouache.
Oh, I love that the kids are participating. People watching, that's amazing. Expose them to experimenting.
I got to figure out how to do the actual proper lettering with a brush like you do. So
What brush are you using? It looks like the
right now I'm using my number 6 again.
okay, yeah. The hairs are quite long, so control will be tougher. Oh, I think I just got my sleeve in the ink. We're good. A smaller brush might help, but then you can't get big. Well, you could get big expressive lines.
I mean, I can always go back in and tighten it up.
You could even use a different medium, like maybe the markers and
You mean to tighten up the edges?
yeah.
Yeah, the 10
enough-
seconds. All right. But I did get the whole quote in. So,
Oh, amazing! Oh, I'm so happy for you
but
because I know you
I
took on a big quote.
have a lot of work I still want to do on it, but I did get the bare bones of the whole thing in. So, all right, my 10 seconds are up.
Okay, I'm getting ready, stretching out the hands.
All right, you're on.
All right,
Rich?
Nikki gets to the last 10 minutes.
I get 10. Okay,
She gets 10 minutes.
I'm
It was only supposed to be 5.
Well, you know, because I didn't set your timer after.
You get 5 minutes, and then we're going to
Well, I was going to say we have 10 minutes left.
then we'll kind of wrap it up.
wrap it up. Okay, so I'm looking at my design, and I feel like I need more powerful marks because I do have just lots of thin lines. So I decided to change it up. I grabbed my zero brush, and I think I'm going to play around with this emerald green ink and use it like I would watercolor to add some lines. I might need a bigger brush or to add some leaves and embellishment because again, if I look at composition, Danny's really good with creating that diverse line weight and shapes, but mine is starting to feel a little bit stagnant because everything is thin, even though there's movement. So if you're working on a spread in your sketchbook and you're not quite sure what it is, try to change up the line weight with whatever you're doing. Make sure there's nice big bold shapes. I'm even changing up the brush. And I picked up my number 6 in the Winsor Newton. And You can go behind that little flower. So just adding these thicker leaves is starting to make me feel happy. Because again, I know there's, and I'll even do something maybe in the center here. Oh, a flower would have been nice there. We'll fix that. I'll even put a little third one.
What color is that you're using?
This is the emerald. So I thought it was going to be a little bit more green, but it's looking a bit more blue, which is
I
okay.
thought I
I
had
don't
brilliant
at all.
green.
Even bleed it into the lettering here a bit and try to create some balance. So I'm not paying attention to composition right now. It can look a little wonky. Probably will work on it off camera. But I just want to show you what weight can do to a piece. You know what? Let's get a bit of red. I'm going to use
Well, I
the
think what's
drawing.
nice about what you're doing now is it's feeling more like a frame, whereas before when the line quality was the same as the lettering, they weren't distinct. But now you've got, this heavier stuff going on outside and the more delicate things going on inside. Ooh, you're going to some warm tones. Yike, radical.
Right? Just to add a little bit of color. So these can be just little buds. And again, abstracted and expressive. I'm not looking to paint a specific flower in any way. And I would even turn the paper at this point um, to make sure my hand was comfortable, but I don't want to get you dizzy. But see, just adding a little bit of weight to the quote. This is still a bit wet, but that's
Maybe you should put
okay.
another little bird somewhere else. Or maybe you need to finesse that bird a bit more. So that
Yeah, I think I will.
yeah.
Maybe not right now because I'm distracted. I need a little bit of yellow, but all I see is gold. Don't distract me. I haven't opened the yellow actually.
Sorry,
That's why.
sorry.
Um, yeah, I will. I think it does need a few birds, but I am going to. I didn't grab yellow. I think this is orange, but again, I feel like it needs a little contrast, and I can pop in yellow afterwards. There we go. I haven't tested this one, so I'm not sure what it looks like, but we could even.
I like this quote from Bharti has just left us in a comment. Whoops, sorry. That's ridiculously large. Let me just get rid of it. Sorry, Bharti. That was not what I intended. Bharti's sorry about this. This is a bit of computer chaos here. But, all right, I'm not going to be able to get it. Bharti says, these sessions are breaking all my apprehensions and fear to start. Today I did draw after a really long time. Love how authentic attempts both of you are making. Yup, we're forced to be authentic because we're not perfect.
And I think that's the beauty too, right? Like just because you see completely polished images on social doesn't mean that there aren't, chaotic pieces or moments where you don't have room to
Yeah, and
play.
I think things start out messy. I mean, look at how beautiful that's becoming now. Really, really nice. I think things start out messy and they just evolve and change as you refine your ideas, as you experiment. So every drawing seems to go through an ugly phase, and if you drop it, then that's where it is. But if you keep pushing it, you can get it somewhere else, to a new place.
And even giving it a moment, like we're a little bit rushed because we want to get in as much as we can live.
JJ's
But
saying she doesn't think that yours ever went through an ugly phase, but I think it has to go through an ugly phase.
thank you. I think yeah.
If it doesn't go through an ugly phase, then you're not going to an uncomfortable place. You're just doing what you already know how to do, which isn't quite as much
5
fun.
minutes are up.
5 minutes are up.
Brushes down. I feel like I'm on a
Brushes
cooking
down.
competition show. Brushes down.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I felt like it was
Gorgeous.
really because too many lines. It was really just looking flat.
That
but
red made such a difference. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
really gorgeous. Well, I guess I'm going to have to make mine look really nice off camera.
We'll finish them. Do you want to put them side by side so
Not
we can
really,
see?
but okay.
That would be cool.
I mean, mine is... I think I was overly ambitious, basically.
has personality, that's for sure.
Well, that's what they say, right?
Love it, and the color, and it's
I am
brave,
going to
right?
spend more time on it. I'm just, unfortunately, I've run out of time here. But yeah, I had a lot of ideas, and that's often my problem. So lots of ideas, and yeah. But I think it's so nice to see these two together and to see, how we can express ourselves and also be affected by what the other person did. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And, trying not to compare, right? I think we talked about this a little bit too. And I think there was even in the chats is, sitting next to that kid in school who's really good at drawing. It just seemed to ooze naturally. And, you're happy with yours until you look over and see what they're doing. Um, I think, that is something that we try not to do, but it happens, right?
well, a lot
So,
of times you can get into your own head when you're working. You get into your own head, you're doing your own thing, and sometimes having some external thing lobbed in that you weren't expecting some is what we need. I mean, that's really the whole idea behind this creative kickstart, is to say, how can we get reinvigorated, because that's what
yeah.
you need, is right. You need a new direction, because if you're just kind of trudging down the same way, it may work for you, it may be great, and it isn't to say that you want to copy what the other person's doing, but you do want to be influenced by it, affected by it, have just a drop of their ink in your water, as it were. So
Mhm.
is
It's
that
like
really good?
growth and change, right? You always, I think, as artists and creatives, we always want to feel like we're moving in a direction and maybe not growing, but well, growing for sure, but maybe changing a little bit. So I definitely, am inspired to use more color, which shows today, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the thing is, we're afraid to fail, right? So we're afraid to fail. So you do what you know how to do,
Mhm.
and the first time you try, like today, trying to do something you haven't done before, particularly with hundreds of people watching you, is intimidating, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's like, suck it up and be intimidated. Um, Easier said than done, perhaps, but I think you have to take that risk, and you have to, um, be willing to fall on your face in order. That's generally a sign that you are stretching. And
Yeah.
you're not going to be great at it when you first try it, because you just started doing it, but you are going to learn and grow. And that's, I mean, it's true in any kind of endeavor, right? That you have to push yourself to the uncomfortable place. And then you get
Yeah.
then that uncomfortable place will become comfortable, but it just may take a while.
I agree. And I think what we're doing too is, I mean, we could keep it really safe and share things that we're really comfortable with drawing and painting, and we have a style, but that would be too safe for us. Like, we wouldn't grow from this experience of doing this together. So instead, it's almost like we're doing the experimenting that we would be doing in our studio behind closed doors, not sharing it with everyone, working out our problem
Naked in
solving.
public, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that's really vulnerable. So I think this is a part of the process that I like to show more when I'm teaching classes or sharing things. Like, this is the part that every artist you see posting their work goes through, and it's this experimentation and play where the expectation of the outcome isn't the priority, it's the process and the play.
Right.
And then being able to share it with a fellow creative who I'm inspired by, right? So I think, and even with you, like, everyone here is being inspired. I can't wait to see. I hope people start to share what they're
Yeah.
working on too.
And I think for
That's
those people, yeah. And I think those people who are ashamed to share or embarrassed to share,
share it,
share
please.
it anyway. Honestly, take a risk, go onto that high diving board, try it, because if nothing else, it will show you that you can share. It'll show you that you can do that.
Yeah, rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, rip the band-aid off, as JJ's saying, and then that way we can put it in with the others when we do our little gallery show that we always do after these things. But also, be brave. Be
Mhm.
brave. That's what you have to be as an artist. You may not be confident, but you can still be brave, and you can go to a place that's new and different. I mean, for me, it's like, a lot of times bravery involves being safe, because I sometimes feel like I'm not safe enough. So, for instance, today I did this whole plan and this whole sketch of what I was going to do beforehand. I don't normally do that. And I don't know that I like doing it, but I kind of felt like I was going to try doing it today because I sort of thought that Nikki was more, I thought you were more likely to do that. So I thought, well, she would probably like later. And then you didn't do it at all. So I thought, okay.
And then I was like, oh, I need a plan too. So I quickly sketched out a plan.
Right. So normally I would just free form it and you know, but today I was like, I'm going to be really structured. And a lot of times I can feel that that structure can make me feel tight or rigid or constipated, you know, but it's also good to have, you can also take, you know, go in new directions when you do a bit of planning, as I found. Like there was some stuff that I did that I was like, okay, I wouldn't have done that if I had freeformed it. It wouldn't have occurred to me to move the type around. It wouldn't have occurred to me to do like the little high diving board. You know, it didn't turn out perfect, but I can go back in and polish it some more. So try and, you know, as Wilma says here, throw away the crutches, or, you know, just try it out, because it's just paper and some beautiful calligraphy and drawing ink. There's not a lot at risk really. So, you know, yes. All right. I'm exhausted from this, and I want to go and privately try and fix what I did a bit. But yeah, so for those of you who are coming today for the first time, we're doing this every day this week. We are pushing ourselves in new directions every morning, 9 o'clock Pacific, here on my channel and on Nikki's channel. And
should we give them a sneak peek about tomorrow? It's Valentine's. Are you going to wear red?
Yes, tomorrow's Valentine's. That's right.
AJ, make sure he wears red.
Yeah, so tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and we weren't sure what to do, so we think we're going to do something sort of Valentine's related. I don't know if we want to go into it more than that. It'll be interesting, but I think we're also using it as an opportunity to experiment. Is it watercolor pencils I think we were talking about using tomorrow?
I think I'm going to start with watercolor pencils tomorrow.
Yeah, watercolor pencils.
Yeah.
Trying watercolor pencils and trying to do some new stuff with them, and maybe watercolor and watercolor pencils. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be something, you know, appropriate for Valentine's Day. And even if you hate Valentine's Day, just come anyway. Bah humbug. If you love Valentine's Day, feel free to send us flowers and chocolates.
Chocolate for me, please. Dark chocolate. Sea salt.
You can upload chocolates into the comments section of YouTube. It's a special thing they're doing just tomorrow. And yes, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. I think we've run out of time. And,
thank you, Dan.
Yeah, we will post what we're doing. I'll post mine in the community section of this channel. I'll post what I did today, and we will briefly. Nikki, do you think you're done with yours? Are you going to do any more?
No, I'm going to let it dry and add some more, I think, detail to it. I'm going to play around a little bit, and I've been posting to Instagram. So
okay, great.
At Design and posting to my stories, sharing what Danny and I are both doing. So
brilliant.
Hop on over there if you're on Instagram. If not, stay on YouTube. Do whatever feels comfortable.
Yeah, I don't really do Instagram that much anymore. So yes. So we'll show you what we did overnight tomorrow, and we'll see you then. Hope you can join us. Happy pre-Valentine's Day, and thanks for coming today. See you soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Bye.
Danny.